that aside, are they really going to try to go with the story that that car was under their feet the entire time that they were out there searching day in, day out, and they couldn't find it 55 feet from the shore, 7 feet underwater, 14 feet to the floor of the lake, but the car is 7 feet tall approximately, and 300 yards from the supposed party, and they were out there for almost 20,000 billable hours, 60 law enforcement officials, and somewhere in the range of 18 law enforcement entities or first responder entities, rescue entities, and they couldn't find it. They want to pretend that they're that stupid. I mean, that doesn't sound like a very good plan to me. So I'm hoping for a lot of reasons that they won't go with that. Seriously, it's an embarrassment to first responders everywhere. You're calling yourself idiots like you can't find your freaking rear end with both hands. One of my commenters said that a few days ago, and I thought, that's a good one. I like this shit from Shinola. Somebody was like, what's Shinola? That's shoe polish, right? And ass from elbow. I mean, my God, you really want to pretend like you're that stupid that it was right there and you just couldn't look right there too good because somebody was fishing and they were in your way and you were too shy about asking them to move? I don't think so. When you're searching, you make people leave. And if you're going to allow some fishermen in a boat to park themselves right above where the car is for however long that boat was parked there, it makes you look suspicious, okay? It makes you look like you put that person in the boat there so that you could come up with this cockamamie story like, well, we couldn't see because the guy in the boat was in the way. I mean, oh my God. Is this like Comedy Hour, like the Three Stooges? It's not a good look, people. I love law enforcement. I love first responders. I have a very, very strong tie to people who put their own safety at risk for the benefit of other people. There's nothing more noble than that, in my opinion. However, when you abuse your power and you lie and you're corrupt, you ruin it for everybody. So all of these good people that are doing good work day in, day out, you make them all look bad. And that's just fucked up. I'm just going to say it. Drop the F-bomb, okay? You don't mind if I growl, do you? I know some people like it if I drop the F-bomb. Some people don't like it. I just do what I feel needs to be done. So I have a question about that blasted video, the alleged fire cam from Alder Hill. I think that got emailed to a whole bunch of popular channels, a whole bunch of the very effective channels, a whole bunch of the channels that a lot of people watch, Grizzly True Crime, and I always forget to mention her, of course, she's amazing. All of these channels that had it emailed to them. Did it have a virus? Is it hacking into their computers? Is it disabling their system so they can't produce content? I don't know. I'm suspicious of everything, right? And I think that we need to be, especially in cyberspace, because people can say that they're who they aren't. And another thing I wanted to clarify with all my recommendations of other content creators, an All-American Cartel LLC is a very, very, very different channel, kind of opposite channel of All-American Dream Chaser, which I never liked to begin with, and makes me vomit now, right? So an All-American Cartel LLC, Julio, is that his name? He's the theorizing theorist, and he's really funny, and he's really sharp. And he kind of goes in all directions, and I don't think he's trying to sell oh, there's this wild conspiracy theory or or that. He's just trying to open ideas that some of these things could be true, and it's good to consider all options. I really like his style. So another thing that I started to say yesterday that I didn't really hit home is I ended the video because I just didn't know how to say it without, like, I don't know, sounding too accusatory. And I'm sorry, the glare of my glasses bothers me. That's why I'm like moving around and taking them off. I'll just try to leave them on and do this so that I can look at my notes, but then my face is too dark. Anyway, problems. These kids these days that do gangster type crimes, okay? It's a thing, right? I don't know if you guys know that. It's totally a thing to be like gangster wannabes. And it's mandatory that they post their shit on social media. If they don't post their shit on social media, they don't get the street cred, okay? So when I was talking about Jagger's baseball cap and the weird thing that looked like a rose or an oil stain and maybe a blood stain, it was definitely a pinkish reddish stain if you've had a chance to go pick out that video. I almost used it for my thumbnail for the video yesterday, but I don't like to promote these scumbags. I like to promote Kiely, okay? So I started to use that photograph so that you guys would know right what I was talking about. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that disservice to Kiely, and I'm not giving Jagger airtime, because honestly, I think that that's what he's after. Talk about clout chasers, right? Pot calling the kettle black. I think that Jagger and Sammy are using this horrible situation. They're using Kiely. They're using Kiely's tragic fatality as a way to get more viewers on their freaking TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is that they do. That's what I think. And if anybody has that video from Sammy's account that she probably deleted of a female being like bound and in the trunk of a car, I would really like to see that, okay? It was the cotton candy Hooters that maybe had it, and people said that they had to take their channel down or something. Maybe their channel got infected, you know? I have seen a pattern of a lot of the content creators having technical difficulties. And I think these are content creators that don't normally have technical difficulties. So I've wondered all along, you know, we've got people with skills doing stuff to try to cover tracks and hide the truth, and damn us truth seekers, right? Laugh my fucking ass off, really? Jane Doe says, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, Hooters, LOL. They have a new account now. They are Cotton Candy Investigates. Oh, great. Thank you. Channel is Cotton Candy Investigates, and that's with a K. Cotton and Candy with K. Good to know. Oh, I'm excited to see that. As horrible as it sounds, another scary Sammy video. So, did I hear this right? Did I hear a few days ago that this guy that I try to ignore, that SF Investigates, who I also believe is a Skeletor channel that I'm not even going to mention, did he try to say that the car didn't go into the lake in the video? Or did I misinterpret something somewhere along the lines? Because like I said, I try to be very selective about what I expose my poor brain to. Because, man, this stuff is really putting it through the ringer. And, you know, it's all about integrity. If you make a mistake, that's fine. You know, we all make mistakes. And you can still have integrity. If you've made a mistake, you apologize and you learn from it, and it's no big deal, just like we teach our kids. But if you can't admit that you made the mistake, you try to lie, you try to cover, you try to shift blame, then you suck, to put it clinically, right? That's psychobabble. You suck, okay? My filter's a little low. I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of worn out by this case. But, you know, you got to expect that to happen when you're basically in it for the long haul, kind of like a marathon. I used to be a long distance runner a long time ago. Until I had my first baby, probably. Which I wasn't. I was 34 when I had my first baby, so I was a lot older, and I was still running up until I was about 4 months pregnant, and then I was just like, you know, I can't. I tried. I thought I'd run up until the day I had her, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. So, my notes here. The flagrancy on the social media. So think about that. Think about Sammy with her videos, the scalper video, the dancing videos, at college, and oh goodness, the video of her with the Coors beer, like the very next night. Wasn't that like August 7th or something? That she's out there. I think she said she was at Boca Lake. And she had her little, helmet light on. I forget what you call those things. And she's dancing around and she's being all pretty and showing off her tongue ring, or kind of subtly showing off her tongue ring. But, Sammy is so disgusting, in my conspiracy theory, humble opinion, allegedly. She would be a knockout if she had a personality. Oh, my God. She's conniving and disgusting, in my humble opinion. Oh, that's so cute. Jane Doe says, you are incredible. What video, Fall Smith says? The video that I'm talking about of her with her little forehead flashlight and a Coors beer, and she's just dancing around like she's having the time of her life. And it was right after Kiely died, or right after they found her. And it was probably right after they found her, because then I think we knew she was dead. So she was found on August 21st, I think. So maybe the video was from August 22nd. But she's dancing around and she's drinking her Coors beer and she's out at the lake and it's all beautiful nighttime with the moon and mountains. And it's very, very much in poor taste. I mean, also making herself look really guilty. If you were around somebody who had a fatality, would you be all happy like that? I don't think so. Yes, I watch CNY Family. I see Deb White says that. Lindsey had a video taken down. She was on the YouTube Monster. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, Sammy's an absolute narcissist. And Lindsey and her spooning Sammy publicly. Can I tell you what I really think? I've been biting my tongue about this all along. That this is just an idea, and I don't know, and I've been very hesitant to say it because I don't want to be throwing shade unnecessarily. But I wonder if there's drugs involved, addictions involved, debts involved, and Lindsey and Sammy have an alliance. I'll just leave it right there, okay? For now. So yesterday I was talking about that squared off, roped off area along the water near where Kiely's vehicle was pulled out of the lake. And in the event that fire camera is real from up there on Alder Hill, wouldn't they have footage of the kids burning the fire that they say that they burned? Wouldn't that have maybe set off an alarm? If these are fire cams and they're worried about fires and people aren't supposed to have bonfires and they're having a bonfire? I see Manx Cat said, Fall Smith, Lindsey is strange. I look at Jolissa Fuentes' father in the press conference yesterday, and he's just bawling, right? And I'm remembering a very composed Lindsey at her daughter's memorial quote unquote celebration of life, and her very curt, stern words to the camera. And my thing with that is, why are you even talking to the camera? You are mourning, supposedly. Your daughter is deceased. You are trying to celebrate her life. Why are you talking to the evil YouTubers that you are so despiseful towards? I don't know. I tried just to let it go at the time. I was offended, of course, but I thought, she's a mom, she's grieving, she has every right to feel however it is she feels. But the more time that passes, and that comes up. And again, like I said, when I saw Jalissa Fuentes' father, so devastated and emotional. And then you compare that to Lindsey with her tight lips, her razor sharp tongue, her curt words, her shaming, her absolute shaming, trying to use things like kindness as a weapon. How kind is that? Makes my brain hurt. Okay, let's stay focused. So, I think I got most of this.
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I'd like to thank all my subscribers for all the support, all the kindness, all the kind comments that you leave behind. I'd like to thank my subscribers for just being blessed people, very kind-hearted people, respectful. You'll have decency, you'll have morals, ethical morals. You'll do care about all these missing victims and all these cases that we discuss on the regular basis. And I would like to thank everyone who watches my channel. I appreciate your help. Guys, although I'm a small channel, I really do appreciate all the love, all the support, and all the blessings that I get on the daily. Not only from my family and friends, but from my little community on this awareness channel. After I've said that, I would like to discuss, or no, actually not discuss, talk a bit about the clip that I just played for y'all. But before I do that, it's important, I've explained it before, but to explain it again, what was the reason that I opened this channel, or that I started this channel in correct English. Most of you are aware I started this channel for awareness purpose, for mental health and crime, basically to connect how crime is usually linked to mental health illness, to talk about mental health itself, to put out awareness about suicide thoughts, domestic violence, anxiety, depression, personality disorders, other mental health illness. I'm not a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are the people who evaluate, but I'm definitely a licensed mental health counselor. And as a mental health counselor, practitioner, therapist, like we call them, or like we call us, we have something that is blessed. We have the skills of therapy. The psychiatrist just gives the diagnosis and then he moves on to the next patient. But usually the people that deal with the patient or client and does therapy for them are mental health counselors. Psychologists usually deal with long-time trauma and such things, and you see psychologists working in different branches, especially in the UK and Europe. Over here it's mental health counselors that do the therapy for the most, and there are different kind of mental health branches. No, there's the same mental health branch, but I'm talking about it as a mental health counselor. We have psychodynamic counseling, we have integrative counseling, we have family therapy counseling, we have drug and alcohol addiction counseling, we have child psychology counseling, we have sex offense counseling, different type of counseling. We have couples counseling, we have bereavement counseling. That's when somebody loses a loved one, they're grieving. And that is one of the reasons that I'm going to discuss a bit about this clip that I played. But coming back to therapy, therapy is very beneficial for people who are struggling, for things, even small, even things like there's more serious mental illness, health illness like schizophrenia, psychosis. People who have schizophrenia usually have psychosis, bipolar 1, bipolar 2. There's different kind of personality disorders, like antisocial personality disorder. You may know it as a psychopath. Then you have borderline personality disorder, historical personality disorder, and so on and so on. Then you have many people in this world, thousands and millions of people suffering of anxiety. There's different scales to anxiety. People suffer of depression, and there's a clinical form of depression when it goes too serious and in a long time. Then you have, some people just come to therapy to get their thoughts in order, or they may just feel like the world is a burden on their shoulder and they're having a rough patch. They could be having 10 things happening at one time, like maybe, example, they could be in a situation where they're going through a divorce, and then unfortunately they lose their work at the same time, and then they have COVID, example, and then it becomes too much. The brain becomes too foggy for them, and basically they seek mental health counseling. Many people would say that mental health counseling isn't that effective, and many people who've experienced mental health counseling would say that it has helped them a lot. I personally haven't been ever to a therapist, but before we got our license to be a mental health counselor, we were sent to therapists for a couple of sessions so that they could evaluate or do an assessment to check if we have what's it called, if we have, if we are fit enough to be counselors. Because to be dealing with vulnerable people, like to say people who are suicidal, people who have domestic violence, people who have rage, anger management, such things, we as counselors, mental health counselors, since we're doing therapy, have to be in the best shape mentally wise so that we can have the patience and we can use our skills well professionally and be mindful so that we help the vulnerable client or patient. So people come for different reasons. There's different branches of counseling, like I explained. As a mental health counselor in general, the title, you do learn about different kinds of skills. You go through most of them, like domestic violence and family therapy and many other things. Couples counseling, child psychology, all that. We've learned it within those 4 years. But the part I chose was cognitive behavior therapy. CBT is a very scientifically proven, a very effective mental health therapy. The founder is Aaron Beck from Pennsylvania University in the 1970s, early 70s. He came out with CBT from the idea of REBT counseling, and in CBT, basically Aaron Beck had this idea that if you change a negative way of thinking, that things can change in a positive circle. Like if you stop having so much negative thoughts and you start dealing with your negative thoughts, because negative thoughts, there's a cognitive side, deals into depression, it deals into negative emotions. That's like depression, anxiety, and that will, negative thoughts will lead into negative emotions. Negative emotions will end up giving you negative behavior. So it's kind of like a chain, a circle that goes round and round. But if you change it, like, not change it, what we usually do, just say if a person is depressed and says they don't want to leave the house, they don't want to see their friends anymore, they don't want to speak on the phone, so forth, then number one important thing in therapy is active listening. We have to listen to their issues. We usually ask them to decide two of the subjects or topics that is priority for them, that they would like to discuss and work on. Because just say people have 6-7 topics that is all bothering them. It's not that we are ignoring the other thoughts and the other issues, but we start with prioritizing the first two. Then it's easier to deal with the rest. Then we listen to the person, we use our skills, we give them skills and techniques to work over the depression or the anxiety. In mental health counseling, we use the DSM-5. And in the DSM-5, we kind of assess people from how high the depression is or anxiety. And then we work on that. And CBT is a here and now therapy. Many people feel it's beneficial because it's not a long-term therapy. it's usually not more than 8 to 10 weeks. In certain cases, it could be extended to 3 months, but it's usually not. It's not necessary after 3 months, because once the person gets a concept of working with a therapist about how to change their negative thoughts and all that, or just say if they have phobia, like just say if they have phobia in spiders or something like that, or if they have OCD, many things, we work on that. So that is about cognitive behavior therapy. It's about changing your negative thoughts. The reason I played this clip is I remember speaking about this certain person, the certain woman. Her name is Justice A to Z. I think she's been around for 5 weeks. The reason that she caught my attention before, I've spoken about her once before, is because she tried to say that she has mental health. What was it? She's worked as mental health in the legal team. And at the same time, she said, like, while she was talking about the Kiely Rodney case, she just slided it in and said that, oh, when I used to work in the mental health team, I used to restrain people and put them in a mental institution and all that. And I found that to be untrue, because of a lot of what she was saying was false statements. Like I said before, somebody who works in an emergency psychiatrist institution and who has the right to put someone who's seriously mentally unfit and is in danger to society, to others, or to themselves, has to be done by a court order, through a court order. And it usually involves, once the judge has declared that, like putting someone in a psychiatrist union institution without their will, that is usually when the court grants it, then it's usually a psychiatrist, and law enforcement would be needed, obviously, to help to get the person into the place they're supposed to be in, if they're in danger for themselves or for others. But it's a psychiatrist that does the evaluation. It's mental health counselors that do the therapy from the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist recommends what therapy needs to be done. A very good example is Don Wells, who's in prison. He's supposed to go to mental health counseling, and I'm sure his is about drug addiction and alcohol addiction, and maybe even further. I'm definitely sure if he keeps on talking like that, and he's admitted that he's done SO with his stepsister, so he will be getting mental health counseling, definitely. Whether it's cognitive behavior therapy or whether it's psychoanalysis, I'm sure psychiatrists will see him. Psychiatrists come in more for evaluation, to give a diagnosis, and medication. But the therapy is the mental health counselor. A psychiatrist never gives out therapy. Usually, they don't. Because they're trained as psychiatrists, everyone has a different job. It's like a nurse and a doctor. So coming back to this woman, you can clearly see what she's speaking about, and it really, really disappointed me, because she used the word like, in my clinical opinion. That is all, and she was laughing about it. I don't know which part she used it for a second, but put it this way. If she ever worked in a mental health branch, she's never said she's a therapist or counselor, and she's never said she's a psychiatrist, but she said she used to help to detain people against their will, which is a false statement. Because it's always a psychiatrist. If not a psychiatrist, a doctor will be involved, but usually a psychiatrist because he's the brain doctor. Or he's the one. Yeah, who's the doctor of the brain? That's the right word I actually said. But you could clearly see her or hear her talking about different things. Samantha Smith. She called Samantha disgusting, and not even once, twice. She said herself that she has a daughter, she used to do marriage since she had her first child. And I would assume her daughter is around Sammy's age, if not older. You hear me talk about Sammy and all, I call her sketchy Sammy, which isn't a bad word. I say red flag Sammy because she's full of red flags. Nobody's denying that. But language is very important, and mindfulness, how you use it. To call someone disgusting who is more than half your age is really disappointing. But what I really got upset about, I was just watching YouTube after I uploaded my clip, but then I had to come back on again just to share an example of how unmindful people are and how they don't realize that they're affecting other people's life. I've seen plenty of clips of Justice A to Z, and it's all about conspiracy. That's another thing, that's how you know that it's all false, that she's never worked in a mental health institution. I remember she said that once, and then she said I worked in the legal team. You can't even be working in the legal team, because if you worked as a mental health counselor, or if you were a psychiatrist, you wouldn't be unmindful addressing people in that manner. What I found really hurtful and disgusting, I will use the word disgusting on her. I hate to say that. What I found very unprofessional with her, she's talking about Lindsey Neiman, Kiely's mother. And she had the nerve and the audacity to say, oh, I don't like to be trashing people, especially people who are grieving, who've lost someone to such a trauma. She's talking about Kiely's mother. And then she says, it's just so shocking. This woman is, I don't know what to say. It's really hurtful what she said. She said that she believes that Sammy and Kiely's mother, like Kiely's mother was being very close to her, and they have this kind of relationship going on because it's something to do with drugs and using of drugs and their alliances. The meaning of alliances is when people, obviously you'll all know, when people work as a union for a common ground, for something they have in common, a mutual thing, something they both are benefiting on. She actually used that line and those words. You can hear her clearly using it. It's all right to speculate a bit about cases, but when you come to a stage calling a grieving mother alliances with Sammy on drugs, that means she's trying to say that Sammy's mother sells drugs and she sells it to the youth, or that Sammy works with the, obviously she said there are alliances in drugs. So is the mother getting the drugs in and then giving it to Sammy, and Sammy is distributing it, and Sammy managed to overdose her own daughter. Is that what she's trying to say? Look at how mindful she is. Look at how unprofessional she is. She doesn't even realize the words that's coming out of her mouth, and she does this at least twice a day. She promotes people like Ryan Upton. She keeps on saying it, that she wants him back. She finds him interesting. She believes he solved the whole case. Obviously, I believe personally, an unmindful person, an unprofessional person is going to find another unmindful person. Remember the saying, birds of a feather flock together? I got so upset what she said about Kiely's mother. At times, I believe for the last 2 months I've been defending Kiely's mother so much that people will start wondering if I'm an alliance with her. Not in drugs, but like giving her mental health support. And I am not. It's just that she's not a mental health counselor, or she hasn't worked at any mental health institution. She doesn't have any clinic background. She's lying about it. Because the first thing you learn, 4 years going to university, you will learn to be mindful. You will learn ethical morals. You will learn how important respect is, how important confidentiality is, how important a commitment is, how important active listening is, which she doesn't do, because obviously she's coming out with crap about a grieving mother who lost her daughter. And right after she said that they were alliances, she turns around and says that Kiely's mother was very unkind, and that she said, I felt hurt for a moment when she told us YouTubers not to get involved. This woman started 5 weeks ago on YouTube. I started around December, January. It's going to be almost a year soon. And I was on YouTube chats since 2019. I didn't get disappointed with what Kiely's mother said. I think I'm the only one on YouTube as a creator who didn't get disappointed. I understood 110%. Maybe the way she said was kind of, she should be more mindful, like to elaborate on it. But this woman, Justice A to Z, if you ever watch my clip, I will give you the answer why Miss Neiman Rodney, Lindsey Neiman Rodney was like that. That's why you need to do more research. That's why you need to follow more and watch more. I'm not going to mention which creator, but a certain YouTube creator sent a person she knew or he knew to the tribute, uninvited, slyly, to record the tribute, which the person did. I know that and I have proof of that because they played it. Now you can imagine if you are Kiely's mother and you and your community are making a tribute or a celebration for her life at such an early life, 16 years old. It's horrible. It's tragedy. It's sad. I hope she gets justice if it's foul play. If it's an accident, may God bless her soul, and maybe all learn something from this accident. But when the mother made the tribute or the celebration of life, she was so fed up of media, just like she said, social media attacking these youngsters like Jagger, Sammy and all. Now bear in mind that she's a mother. she's the one grieving. So no matter what, she would be right. Even if she's wrong, she's still right. Even if she's wrong, we still have to give her the respect. We can't just throw it out on her face and say, get up, wake up, it's foul play. You need to know. You need to follow the news. Kiely was found in the back seat. It is foul play now. She's not interested. And I remember saying this a couple of weeks ago. How do we not know? How do we know? Maybe we don't know that law enforcement are obviously sharing important information with her and Daniel Rodney, Kiely Rodney's father, and the grandfather. People keep on forgetting that Kiely is a minor. She's 16 years old. When she died, it was like her birthday was on the 2nd or the 1st of September. So when she died, she was actually under 17. She's 16. So when a minor is involved, law enforcement know the rules everywhere in the world, especially in the Western countries. They know not to let out certain things in the media, others they can get sued easily. This is about a child's right and a parent's right. But I personally believe that Kiely's mother knows more than she's telling us. Obviously, and we don't need to hear. It's not our business. Like she said, it's kind to mind your own businesses. Justice A to Z finds it very offensive and says that the mother and Sammy are drug associated. Justice A to Z, obviously you don't have any clinic training. Those are the words you Googled up. I remember you saying in many clips of yours, you love Google and it makes your life easier. So I'm sure you're the type that just goes and Googles and checks small things and then says, I'm this and this career. But with a mental health counselor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, they will always stick to the facts and try least to speculate. We're human beings, we do speculate. But when I'm unmindful, she actually used the word F. If you're listening towards the end, she dropped the F-bomb twice, I believe. She was laughing and giggling at certain people. She was saying that Jagger had blood or something pink on his cap. This is what happens when conspiracy theories go wrong. It makes it harder for us to seek for justice or to seek for answers for poor 16-year-old Kiely Rodney. This woman has been very disrespectful to Kiely Rodney, his mother. And I don't think Kiely would have appreciated that if she's alive. The mother's struggling, the mother's grieving, and people were coming in recording without permission. That's why maybe you didn't understand Justice A to Z. It's called active listening. The woman thanked the media, but she said the social media is a machine of monsters. I do agree with her. Because we are not even showing any more empathy. Especially all these creators who've taken this to another dimension. Dementia. I don't understand what is happening here that people don't understand that Lindsey Neiman. I don't understand what's happening here, Justice A to Z, for you not to understand that this is a grieving mother and she's in a grieving process and y'all are breaking her grieving process. Y'all are upsetting her. She can't even celebrate the celebration of her daughter's 16-year-old life. And then Justice A to Z, you said that I wouldn't have been so cruel and I wouldn't have been so unkind to people. You would never know till you're put in that position, and may God never let that happen. But even if you were put in that position, people cry and grieve in different ways, in different matters, in different times. So I appreciate Kiely's mother for trying to be supportive to the community. I'm sure Jagger was getting death threats. Sammy was complaining about everyone attacking her. And maybe the mother knows that it was a pure accident. And maybe the mother's trying to embrace all these other teenagers and keep them safe because she lost one. Could that be possible in mental health? Yes. But this woman and her disgusting behavior needs to stop. Because you don't call an 18-year-old girl disgusting, and you don't call a mother such bad names. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to say. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a lovely day.